What do we know today on the Adams front, Adam?
Well, Laura, there continues to be a belief around the league that it's only a matter of time before Davante Adams is traded to another team. And that time doesn't appear to be happening before Week 5 kicks off because Davante Adams has a lingering, legitimate hamstring injury that he suffered at practice 1 week ago that he's still recovering from. And it doesn't sound like teams are in a rush to trade for a player when they have to pay him an additional roughly $1 million each week he doesn't play when he can't play right now due to that hamstring injury. And a lot of people have connected the Jets as a favorite, if not the favorite. The Jets are going to London tonight to play the Vikings on Sunday. You would think that the Jets and Raiders will continue talks after the Jets return from London. So it looks like any Davante Adams trade will slow down right now. It does look like it's going to happen at some point. We just don't know where. We don't know when, but it is in motion to happen. But I don't think it happens any time before the Sunday games in Week 5.
The Jets are the obvious team to me because they're the most desperate for Davante Adams for a couple of reasons. One, timeline. This is a team that is all in this year with their 40-year-old quarterback. They have to win now. And right now the offense is struggling. And the other reason why they're desperate is the nature of that offense. This Jets offensive scheme, it doesn't win with scheme. It wins with talent. Which is to say, this is the way Aaron Rodgers wants to play football. He wants to be able to sit back, survey the offense, look for matchups, and deliver an accurate ball. And the problem with the scheme that wins with talent is if you don't have enough of it, it can be hard to move the ball, and we've seen that with New York. And that's not to say Garrett Wilson isn't incredibly talented, Breece Hall is talented, but they need a player like Davante Adams for that offense to be as successful as it needs to be, frankly, for them to go to the Super Bowl.
We talked yesterday, too, about the connection between Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson just not totally being there yet. So maybe this would be more connected. I think we all agree it's probably the Jets. Yeah. But, RC, your Steelers were in the mix for Brandon Ayuk over the summer before he re-signed with the Niners. Should they be working the phone right now?
Well, obviously, you dressed for this question.
I did this for you.
Laura. I mean, you look perfectly
Steelers.
like the person that should be posing this question to me. And I think he would be a great addition to this team. Obviously, one of the best route runners in the game, a guy who could be reliable for Justin Fields on third down and in red zone situations, but also someone that's opposite of George Pickens that can win consistently because the Pittsburgh Steelers don't have that. And when you've seen Justin Fields have opportunities to push the football down the field, he's pushed it down the field accurately and successfully. And after seeing Davante Adams take over in the second half against the Baltimore Ravens, we obviously know he still has something in the tank. But I think the points that Adam made are extremely important. Are you going to want to pay him $1 million a game? Because we know that was something that was in discussion with the Brandon Ayuk contract as well. And so I do think the Jets could be the top team. But if I'm the Buffalo Bills and I have zero idea what their salary cap looks like, I would at least make a phone call. You look at that quarterback, you look at their need for a number one wide receiver and how competitive they could be. I think that could be smart.
Okay, that's an interesting one. Here's the reality, too, to add another layer to this Davante Adams situation. He's going to want to go somewhere that he wants to go, and I think a lot of this is about him chasing a Super Bowl ring. Dan, which spot gives him that best chance?
Oh, it's the Jets, no question. RC, let me ask you this question. To get to the Super Bowl out of the AFC, right now, who are the three teams that you think you got to beat, no matter who you are? Who are the three teams?
You got to beat Kansas City. You got to beat Baltimore, and I can't really think of the third one offhand.
Would you put Houston in there?
Got to beat Houston. Houston, Texas. Yeah, you got to beat Houston, Texas. Yeah.
You got to beat man coverage. Those three teams are going to play some form of man or match coverage. Right now, the Jets offense can't beat man coverage. Aaron's struggling against it. Garrett's struggling against it. The only guy that's really winning against it is Allen Lazard. If you truly believe in New York that you are a Super Bowl contender, legitimate, you have to have an offense that can beat man coverage. There's two ways to do it. You create the leverage by either formations or motions. Mina's already talked about. They don't. Or you have the human beings that could whoop man coverage, just like the Bucs did with Tom Brady when they had Mike and Chris and added AB. That's where they are. They don't set you up pre-snap to beat man coverage. They demand that you're capable of beating it post-snap. They need Davante Adams.
Yeah, Davante Adams, by the way, has recorded the most yards and touchdown passes by any target in Aaron Rodgers' career. I'm sure Rodgers is aware of that, too. New on NFL Live, some news on Rashee Rice and his injury. Adam, what do we know?
Well, Laura, we keep waiting for clarity on the Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice, and we just got some moments ago. The Chiefs officially placed Rashee Rice on the injured reserve list, which means he's out for a minimum of 4 games. Now, it is expected to be a whole lot longer than that, but he now is officially on IR. And earlier today, the Chiefs head coach, Andy Reid, said that they want to wait for the swelling in Rice's knee to subside some before he undergoes additional testing next week to determine the full extent of the damage in that knee. We still don't know yet, but the ACL has not been confirmed yet, and that could and would take place with additional testing next week that they can't do right now because of the swelling in his knee. But for the time being, he is on IR. He is out a minimum of 4 games. It could be a lot longer than that, and we will know more about Rice and how long he will miss and the damage to his knee next week.
Either way, the Chiefs trying to three-peat. Dan, we're talking about Davante Adams. He's obviously not an option there because within the division they wouldn't do it. But do they need to go get somebody? And I think you're going to say yes, so who?
Yeah, they absolutely need to go get someone. Hopefully it's best case scenario for Rashee Rice, first of all. But football-wise, 1, DeAndre Hopkins. 2, Marcus brought this up the other day, Christian Kirk. And 3, Amari Cooper out of Cleveland. There's been some drop issues for Amari, so that would have to get fixed. There's no question about it. They need to go add another wide receiver that can play, starting caliber.
Let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. They play the Cowboys this week, by the way. Russell Wilson, you see him there. He's been doing more in practice this week, trying to come back from that calf injury still, but Justin Fields remains the starter for now. Now, one reason to stick with Fields, his accuracy has improved in a huge way this season. Last season, Fields finished among the worst in the league in completion rate by any way you broke it down. But this year, he's top 10 in the NFL on passes 15 yards downfield against the blitz and throwing the ball outside the numbers as well. RC, just how good has Fields been?
Man, he's been so good. He's been so good, Laura. You wore that outfit. And I'm going to tell you, most days, I can't see you guys when I'm not working in there. So I am so fired up about your fit and the fact that I can actually see it.
Thanks.
But here's what makes me mad about Arthur Smith. Why don't we do it more? Like, he's been so good with pushing the football down the field, hitting George Pickens in those one-on-one situations, getting outside the pocket, throwing in between the numbers, giving guys opportunities for yards after the catch. But we act like we got to wait till the game get tight in the second half. Why not give him those opportunities to start? DeMarcus Lawrence banged up. Micah Parsons banged up. Kalen Carson on the outside, the rookie, not healthy. They're going from Booth to Mukama. They got all kind of people out there playing corner for the Dallas Cowboys. We don't even know. Let's go attack them. Let's go make plays. Why are we waiting? And so for me, it's going to be Arthur Smith. Take the seatbelt off of Justin Fields early and let him cook.
Kind of agree. Kind of like it.
True, but it's Dallas, so you can run the ball, Ryan, in this one. And the thing I liked watching the Steelers against the Colts was I feel like this run game is so close, and you saw, I think, some improvements that I expect to carry over this week and beyond. A couple things that jumped out to me. One, Cordero Patterson on gap and duo runs, running with great vision behind that offensive line. I think he's better suited for those types of runs than Najee Harris. And then Justin Fields himself, I felt, showed he looked the most decisive as a runner as he has all year. And that ability of his to get north-south, particularly on draws against this Colts defense, against a Cowboys defense that is frankly too light to handle Justin Fields at the second level, I think that's going to be a massive problem this weekend.
I literally, to our producer, Mark Eisman, sent him a tape and I said, I feel like the Steelers' run game is so close to a breakout game because they're like that one block away. If you just keep straining or just keep pushing or get better with one certain landmark, you're going to pop a 3-yard run to a 10-yard run. Here's split flow, okay? Look at the right side. The front side looks majestic right now. If you just get that backside there, Najee Harris is 10 yards downfield at worst. That's split flow. Now let's watch this front side weak zone. Again, watch everybody's block, and then the right guard is just getting tugged on. If we get that front side backer, we're out the gate. and then another opportunity to run frontside dive, right side of your screen, a little trap block backside. If you just get to that front side back or receiver coming inside out, we're popping another big run. So some teams that struggle to run the football, they're getting whooped at the point of contact. There's TFLs. You got people missing blocks on a consistent basis. When everybody's doing their job but one, I always believed that was encouraging because you're that one strain or push away.
I love that point, and it certainly showed up in the blocking. But I also, did you feel like Patterson, though, I don't want to say he runs with better vision than Harris all the time, because some of the reason why he had more success on the ground, I think, had to do with the blocking he got. But I almost felt watching him like that he might actually be better suited to this rushing attack than Harris based on what we've seen thus far this season.
Well, I think he runs with the vision of a returner, right? Returners have to understand how to get into these holes extremely quickly. And I think Cordero Patterson is just more decisive in where he's going to stick his foot in the ground and get upfield. And Zaire Franklin and Quick actually said last week, at least on Twitter, when Najee Harris said a couple of things, they were like, hey, Cordero Patterson runs harder anyway. And I don't necessarily think it's a toughness thing, but I think it's an explosiveness thing and a decisiveness thing. And you do get that from Cordero Patterson, who came over with Arthur Smith.
I love it when RC brings the Twitter beef onto the show.
Yay.
Thank you for that. We needed that context.
I didn't see that quote. Spicy.
Oh, that is feisty.